It's been a relatively well-known phobia of Donald Trump's for quite some time now, though it's still completely inexplicable because you could never, ever imagine a scenario where Donald Trump would even be able to come face to face with what he fears most. Sharks.
Do we know, does he even know how to swim? Is there any...
That's what I'm saying.
Is there
I've
any
never seen him
documented evidence of this man being in water, much less the ocean?
I would assume that he is buoyant.
Well, yeah.
The swimming probably wouldn't be too hard for him. But then again, if he gets lopsided, then it's curtains. You know, his feet are going to be sticking up, wagging in the air. But no, just in my mind, I cannot picture him in a body of water.
Yeah.
Even a swimming pool, although I'm sure it's happened. Anyways, could you picture Donald Trump in the ocean? And for that matter, could you imagine Trump swimming at all, even in a pool? Nope. And I don't want to.
I can't.
Yeah. Honestly, the only way that we could imagine Donald Trump being in the general vicinity of a shark would be at an aquarium. But even a trip to the aquarium seems like an activity that Trump would avoid.
Yeah, maybe like hanging out with some like Saudis or some Russians. They got like a shark.
Yeah, Shark Tank, yeah.
In a tank at their villain's lair.
I hate those things.
Get
them away from me.
I'm not eating in there.
Tell him not to look at me. But it's honestly one of the funnier character traits because it's a threat that is just so easily avoidable. Just don't go in the ocean. That's it. That's the only tip I have.
Problem solved.
If you are deathly afraid of sharks, there is a very easy way to avoid death by shark.
Yeah.
You don't go in the ocean. Nevertheless, Trump absolutely hates sharks. And every once in a while, he brings them up just to let everyone know where he stands on this topic.
Didn't he have Shark Week on one of the times he was fucking Stormy Daniels?
That's the first thing we get into.
Okay.
This past weekend was no different, despite his most recent rally taking place in the Nevada desert, which is hundreds of miles from the nearest ocean.
Ooh, I hope those boomers got the proper hydration.
It was apparently very hot, and there were reports that Trump was like, the local news is hyping up the temperatures too much.
I mean, it's less about the heat and more about just the sun.
Yeah, keeping hydrated.
That hot Nevada sun.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe he has a right to be scared. The ocean has been fighting back against humanity in recent years, and the frequency of incidents appears to be rising. Hell, just this weekend over in Florida, the state that Trump now calls home, there were two separate shark attacks, resulting in 3 injuries. Now, the victims didn't die, but the injuries were pretty severe.
Yeah.
Still, the option of just not swimming in the ocean, it's there. Not that either of us would forego a nice swim in the ocean. Hell, we went swimming with sharks off the coast of San Diego a few years back.
Intentionally.
They were there, we just didn't see them.
It was very
the water
murky.
was too murky.
But we wanted to get in, even though it was very choppy and dangerous. We said we came all the way out here.
Yeah.
And they were chumming that water for an hour.
They were chumming for a while.
And we were the only 2 people that got in.
Well, everyone else was puking over the side of the boat.
True, because they did the homeopathic motion sickness drugs.
They took the wrong Dramamine.
I'll just have ginger, thanks. No, I'll take the Dramamine.
But yeah, we are way cooler and tougher than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Shark, who cares?
We did it on purpose.
Put me in with them. Mm-hmm. But really, shark attacks they're incredibly rare. You're much more likely to get hurt or killed in countless other activities before you'd ever experience a shark attack. But we all know how the mind works. Statistics are pointless when it comes to fears that should be mostly irrational. Plus, there's that Jaws movie.
Yeah.
My God. Mm-hmm. So where does Trump's irrational fear of sharks come from exactly?
Now, we're not entirely sure, but as Elliot just pointed out, I would venture to guess that it might actually stem from the same place where a lot of people got this fear from that are in his age bracket. The release of Jaws back in the mid-'70s.
Which does take place on Long Island, which is like, as a New Yorker, that would be, if you're going to the beach, it would probably be up that way.
Mm-hmm. After that movie came out, there was a massive spike in shark phobia from the general public. And unfortunately, also a lot of attention from fishermen who ended up targeting sharks and, according to reports, reduced their overall numbers in North American waters by up to 50%.
Great job, Spielberg.
He's already gone on the record regretting the damage that movie had on sharks.
Great work, Peter Benchley.
So it's possible that Trump's fears started with this movie, but we know that at the very least, he has privately and publicly shared his fear of sharks for nearly 2 decades. And the first noted story about Trump and his shark obsession came from none other than Stormy Daniels and her retelling of her and Trump's affair back in 2007. And since it's such a wild story that relates directly to his most recent comments, let's just go over it again because it ends with him, allegedly, getting spanked with a copy of his own magazine. Here's a few quotes from a Washington Post article from 6 years ago regarding the affair and how his fear of sharks played into it.
I remember arriving and he was watching Shark Week, Daniels told Anderson Cooper in an interview with 60 Minutes on Sunday. He made me sit and watch an entire documentary about shark attacks. He is obsessed with sharks, terrified of sharks, Daniels told In Touch Weekly, again recounting Trump watching Shark Week. He was like, I donate to all these charities, and I would never donate to any charity that helps sharks. I hope all the sharks die.
Jesus.
He was like riveted. He was like obsessed.
No. If your charity has anything to do with those beasts, I will take my money back.
No. They must all be put down. So yeah, this hatred of sharks, it's even spilled over into his campaign rallies across multiple election cycles, including his most recent stop in Las Vegas. But first, let's just get through some of the previous statements on sharks. The many times sharks and Donald Trump have crossed paths.
And the first one is, I again am in my mind attaching this to Jaws, because on the 4th of July, it's just in his mind, he's like, they should have closed down that beach. That pesky mayor was up to no good.
Yeah.
So this tweet is from 2013 on the 4th of July. And he simply wrote this. Sorry, folks, I'm just not a fan of sharks. And don't worry, they will be around long after we are gone.
Unfortunately.
I love that he does at least have, like, you can tell he hates it so much because he does have at least some knowledge of sharks. Like, he's studied them.
And I think a level of respect for them.
Yeah, he's like following the study your enemy, like know your enemy type thing. He's taking it very seriously with the sharks. But yeah, he's right in saying that they definitely will be around long after we are.
Well, we'll see.
He followed up that tweet with another one a few minutes later, adding, sharks are last on my list, other than perhaps the losers and haters of the world.
God, he was so good at Twitter back before any of this president shit.
Yeah, he could have been a phenomenal poster.
Yeah, he was just a sassy old man.
Yeah, everyone remembers
sharing
when he
his thoughts.
Yeah, he would.
The Coca-Cola company is very upset with me. That's fine. I'll keep drinking that garbage.
And when he told what's her name to break up with Robert Pattinson,
yeah, he was obsessed.
He told Robert Pattinson to let her go.
He was obsessed with that relationship.
The whole relationship, yeah. Anyways, back in August of 2020, while speaking at a campaign rally, Trump let loose on the humble shark once again.
They were saying the other night, the shark. They were saying, oh, sharks, we have to protect them. I said, wait a minute, wait. They actually want to remove all the seals in order to save the shark. I said, wait a minute, don't you have it the other way around? That's true. I'm not a big fan of sharks either. I don't know how many votes am I going to lose. I have people calling me up, sir, do we have a fund to save the shark? It's called Save the Shark. I say, no, thank you. I have other things I can contribute to.
And then, in October of last year, he started up with his own version of the trolley problem. And he's been working on this like a stand-up comedian who's like practicing a bit.
Yeah,
he's been working this one in public.
He's doing a lot of dates, so he's refining his craft.
Yeah, now I think he's really perfected.
He should have a stool with a little booklet.
Yeah, well, they didn't like the shark bit today. Okay, we'll cross that off the list. Hey, they're not all winners, folks. I'm trying to do a tight 90 here. He asked the audience back in October, would they rather die by electrocution or be eaten by a shark? Here you go.
And the water starts flooding in. I'm getting concerned. But then I look 10 yards to my left and there's a shark over there. So I have a choice of electrocution or shark. You know what I'm going to take? Electrocution. I will take electrocution every single time. Do we agree?
I mean, I guess I'd probably choose electrocution because...
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like you'd go quicker.
Yeah, it's from what I understand.
And you probably wouldn't realize that you were dying.
Yeah,
whereas a shark, it's like, I'm going to suffer for at least a little bit.
I feel like, it would also be, getting eaten by a shark would be much more upsetting to other people as well.
As we all know, I think I've told the story before, but when I was in shop class in high school, I forgot to put the electrical tape on one of the switches, probably because I was goofing off and being a fucking idiot. I turned it on and it felt like my hand was inside of a fucking buzzsaw. It was not. Yeah. Someone had to knock it off my hand. I could have literally died. Yeah. So
Jesus.
Not a very pleasant experience.
What superpowers did you get?
Being able to host a dumb show on the internet for years
I have
on
the
end.
power of news.
Yeah. Anyways.
So yeah, this and the most recent reference to his fear of sharks, it seems to stem from a talking point tangentially related to renewable and sustainable energy and the adoption of electric-powered vehicles.
They're gonna kill us all!
But in typical Trump fashion, the conversation diverts multiple times to different anecdotes about sharks and how violent and terrifying they are. Basically, he attempts to say that he wouldn't get on a boat with an electric motor because it would electrocute him if it sank.
Yeah.
But actually, that would be preferable to being eaten alive by a shark, which, yeah, okay, fine. Not sure that's how any of that would actually go down. Water is conductive, salt water less so. Also, you're in the fucking ocean. I don't think I don't think it would electrocute you.
Yeah.
But sharks being instinctively drawn to ships powered by electric motors and simply waiting nearby for one to start sinking. The jury's still out on that,
yeah,
too, I think.
ocean's very big. This might be a problem that someone might run into, but I feel like...
The shark's down there.
That's an electric motor. I should follow this. It's going to sink sometime soon, and there's a big boy that is ready to get eaten on that thing.
But this is the real issue. This is a problem that Trump claims no one ever talks about.
Yeah.
So he's raising awareness. So yeah, what we're left with is a bunch of incoherent rambling from an elderly man who's trying to claim that the other elderly man running for president is the one who doesn't make sense, while he's just totally making sense. So just enjoy this clip.
Yeah.
So I said, let me ask you a question. And he said, nobody ever asked this question. And it must be because of MIT, my relationship to MIT. Very smart. He goes, I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight and you're in the boat and you have this tremendously powerful battery and the battery's now underwater and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Do you notice that? A lot of shark. I watched some guys justifying it today. Well, they weren't really that angry. They bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He said there's no problem with sharks. They just didn't really understand a young woman swimming now really got decimated, and other people too, a lot of shark attacks. So I said, so there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here. Do I get electrocuted if the boat is sinking, water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking? Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted, or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, you know, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question. I think there's a lot of electric current coming through that water. But you know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
Anyways, yeah, he ended that whole rant by indicating that the crowd has nothing to worry about. Not just because they're in the middle of the fucking desert, but also because he will make sure that they are never put into a situation like this, because he's going to put a stop to electric boats.
Yeah. Bringing diesel fuel back to the ocean.
Yes, you'll never get eaten when a gas-powered boat sinks.
Are there, I mean, I'm sure electric boats exist. I've never fucking seen one.
What position would you be in where you're out in an electric boat right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's also a really easy way to solve this problem. Nobody's thought of it, but a wind-powered boat might be something we should look into. Honestly, though, Trump has a lot more to worry about than sharks. Not only because they specifically exist in the ocean, while he is primarily land-based, but also because he's got a lot on his plate in the lead up to this year's presidential election. He's got more time in court coming up. He already had to meet with his probation officer in regards to his most recent trial where he was convicted of 34 felonies. He's also got the sentencing process for that conviction coming up next month, followed shortly by the Republican National Convention, and the value of DJT, the stock related to his social media company Truth Social, has been steadily dropping in value since it was first listed. And now, thanks to yet another SEC statement, the stock is worth even less. And investors are shockingly pissed. Here's CNBC.
Trump media on Monday submitted an updated inspection of the company's finances by a newly hired public accounting firm after its last auditor was charged with fraud by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission.
Oh, it keeps happening. We keep working with these fraudulent companies. Why does this keep happening? It's just bad luck. Surely this is just bad luck.
Bad luck. Shares of Trump media ended the trading day down more than 5%. Trump Media hired Semple, Marshall, and Cooper LLP in early May, replacing its prior auditor, B.F. Borger's CPA. Nom nom nom, Booger. 3 days before Trump Media announced that switch, the SEC charged B.F. Borgers with massive fraud that affected more than 1,500 filings. The federal regulatory agency accused the sham audit mill of failing to comply with established auditing standards and falsely representing to clients that their work would meet those standards.
That sounds... Why would they get someone that has apparently a long track record of falsifying?
We talked about this guy. He can't even spell his own name correctly in his own filings, and he's like the public auditor for like hundreds of companies, like so many that he's just rubber stamping this shit.
Yeah, it's almost like they would want that intentionally because then they could. And also, I think we mentioned that maybe he spelled his name wrong intentionally to be like, whoa,
wasn't
not me. Yeah,
that was B.F. Burgers.
Yeah.
Despite Monday's stock drop, Trump Media boasts a nearly $7.5 billion market capitalization, which critics say is wildly disproportionate to the small amount of revenue the company has reported earning. Data shows that the company's sole product, Truth Social, appears to be struggling to hold on to its user base, which already generates just a tiny fraction of the traffic enjoyed by established social media giants such as X and Facebook.
Now, on the investor side of things, Bloomberg recently released a report after filing a Freedom of Information Act request that indicates many investors in the DJT stock are real fucking pissed about its drop in value, and some believe that the stock is being intentionally manipulated.
This is all on you.
Despite the fact that the company is essentially worthless anyway.
You knew what you were buying.
In their article, they go into some of the complaints that the Securities and Exchange Commission has received related to the Trump Media and Technology Group. But we want to mention this little tidbit first because even though it doesn't relate to Trump, it is kind of funny. The SEC is one of the regulatory agencies that encourages investors to file complaints via an online form about possible violations of securities laws and even issues related to individual investment accounts. It gets thousands of them every year. In 2023, the SEC received nearly 16,000 complaints, the majority of which were crypto-related.
Yeah, that definitely tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, here's some of the letters that the SEC has received related to the DJT stock. And we're just going to highlight some snippets of the 70 pages worth of documents they received. But if you want to read the full emails and messages and the article itself, that's weird. But they're all always down in the description, links down there. Here's a taste of what people are saying about the stock.
It is disconcerting to note that the significant information concerning past criminal convictions of rape and convictions related to defrauding New York State involving key figures of the company were not disclosed. This omission raises grave concerns about the adherence to the SEC's own rules and regulations.
I mean, it would be pretty wild to, in your disclosures, just be like, by the way, CEO is a rapist.
And involved in some fraud in a couple of states, but...
He was also the president, though, so...
Yeah.
You know?
Do
your own research.
This is a hot item. You're going to want to invest in this company.
Here's another. I believe that the S4, the merger document, and the 8K filings failed to identify key risk factors attributable to Donald Trump and TMTG. In particular, recent court cases have resulted in significant financial penalties in excess of $464 million, which are included in the latest 8K, but failed to reveal that Trump has claimed that he lacks the resources to pay the bonds, which represents a significant risk. Most egregiously, the number of shares available in the offering has been increased dramatically since the inception of this offering.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's actually...
Yeah, when the...
That's a pretty solid point. The man you were buying stock from really needs that money.
Yeah, he's a majority shareholder and has every reason to sell that
in the world to rip you off.
Mm-hmm. Here's another. Hi, my name is Redacted, and as an individual investor, I own redacted shares of DJT.
Oh, it's probably a lot then.
I have been witnessing an ongoing daily manipulation, price suppression, and illegal naked shorting, and these crooks never having to account and cover their short positions every single day. I am getting very tired and sick of what they get away with by manipulating the security 24 hours a day. Enough is enough. There should be a temporary ban of shorting on DJT for an investigation into criminal activity. DJT price has dropped $30 in almost 2 weeks. There should be green days in between unless the price is constantly manipulated. If something isn't done soon, I will be filing numerous lawsuits pertaining to the illegal activity and theft of one's investment. It is my God-given right to invest and believe in a company and help support it without the interference of illegal activity for one's own benefit. Shorting needs to be banned immediately.
Holy shit. That's incredible. That's very reminiscent of Elon Musk, who also just like, I think believes that shorting a stock should be a crime, should be banned. Yeah, they're shorting the stock because you and
they don't have faith in you or your company.
Your fellow idiots started buying shares of it, and there are really no fundamentals to any of this value.
Yeah.
So they are betting that the market will correct, and they have been so far very correct.
Yes.
Probably making a lot of money on those shorts.
I feel like anyone looking at when this went public would say, well, there's no real company backing this. This is just...
Dear SEC, it's not fair.
I'm dumb. Why is everyone shorting this stock?
Why is the line always going down? It never goes up.
Surely there should be some green days here.
Now, the article also points out that former congressman and current Trump media CEO Devin Nunes is so upset that he's asked the GOP-led House of Representatives to investigate all this short selling and insists that the stock is actually being manipulated instead of the other possibility, which is that everyone knows this company isn't worth shit and they're happy to make money off of people who do inexplicably believe that it's a solid investment. Fish in a barrel. From CNBC a few weeks back, the company's CEO, Devin Nunes, in a letter Tuesday, asked the GOP chairs to probe anomalous trading of the stock in order to gauge the extent of the alleged manipulation and whether any laws, including RICO statutes and tax evasion laws, were violated. And they add that Trump media has been described as a meme stock and a scam by some analysts who are quick to highlight the disparity between the company's lack of revenue and its roughly $5 billion market capitalization. Yeah. It's all there. We gave you all the clues, Devin.
Yeah.
That's why this is happening.
Well, speaking of congressmen, remember how John Fetterman fucking sucks now? He's been a total
fucking ogre.
Zionist weirdo for the past couple of months. Well, we've theorized that maybe he had his stroke and something changed inside his brain, causing him to flip to becoming an outright conservative who doesn't resemble his previous self in any way outside of his choice of clothing.
It's the reverse regarding Henry, that movie where Harrison Ford gets shot in the head and stops being such a bastard and starts like loving his family. Mm-hmm. It's like the reverse of that.
Yeah.
Where your brain gets hurt and then you're like, wait, it really puts things in perspective.
I should be a fucking horrible person.
I've been spending way too much time and energy having empathy for other people. Today that stops.
Well, it turns out these jokes, they weren't mean. They were correct.
Yes.
And his outlook on everything changed after his near-death experience. And this comes from the man himself during an appearance on another dipshit's show, Real Time with Bill Maher.
Who watches this?
I don't know who this is for. At this point, it's literally for conservatives who are watching it going like, yeah, see, they're finally coming around to our side.
It's for conservatives and people who considered themselves liberals in I guess the 90s, but who have very measurably moved to the right, but still want to claim I'm the only real liberal. The left me. Yeah,
it is for old school liberals who got deeply caught up in all the culture war stuff and agree with all of it.
Yeah, it's just who's watching this shit? Apparently a lot of people are, because he's got that podcast now too, where he's just smoking weed and just being fucking embarrassing all the time. Yeah, I don't get it. Who does this appeal to?
There's lots of people out there. Some of them are watching this. But during the appearance, Fetterman first compared himself to the Joker.
Okay.
Which
one? There's a lot of Jokers.
But it's comparing yourself to the Joker, it's definitely something that people do in order to seem normal and relatable. Yeah, I'm kind of like the Joker in that respect.
Bill Maher, I used to think life was a tragedy. But now I think it's a comedy.
And I'm the Joker.
You want to know how I got this brain injury?
Yeah.
Which Joker though? There's so many Jokers.
Yeah, he spoke about how his stroke drove the progressivism right out of him. We can't show
progressivism just leaving his body.
It came out like a rainbow too.
Yeah,
it's like a rainbow ghost.
Yeah, his soul came out of his body in the near-death experience and then split in half. And the other one's all right, well, I'm going to heaven. And the shitty part of his body's
nah, I think I'll stay here.
Yeah, I'll be right behind you.
Yeah. The good part sashayed away.
Yeah.
So we can't show HBO clips, but here's more on this from the New Republic.
During an appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher, Senator John Fetterman credited his near-fatal stroke with making him a conservative darling, describing it as freeing. There's a line from the first Batman Joker. He's like, I've already been dead once already. It's very liberating, Fetterman told Marr on Friday. That's not reckless, that's just freeing. It's just freeing in a way. And I just think after beating all of that, I just really want to be able to say the things that I have to really believe in and not be afraid of if there's any kind of blowback. Okay, the article talks about the path that he's gone down since the incident, which includes his unwavering comical support for Israel. He's switched up his wardrobe quite a bit. He used to just wear hoodies and jean shorts, and now he sometimes wears a giant Israeli flag that he drapes around himself like a bathrobe. His mocking of students and veterans who have participated in those protests, his newly found love of locking down our borders despite his wife being an undocumented immigrant when she was a child. But the article ends with this banger, which brings it all into focus.
Fetterman frames his seismic shift as stances he's always had, which his brain damage simply allowed him the freedom to embrace. Despite constantly describing himself as a progressive through the years, seeking endorsement from the Democratic Socialists of America, and himself endorsing progressive candidates for office. I mean, dude admits backing conservative policies because he suffered severe brain damage. I mean, it's incredible.
And he's not wrong, too. Like, I read this Ryan Grimm book, came out this year, mostly about like AOC. I think the title's The Squad. But yeah, they talk about Fetterman and like, yeah, he's, everything he's said so far is very consistent with his belief. What it does sort of illuminate is something that you always have to be on guard for in Democratic primaries, where people know that it's fashionable to come off as much more progressive than they actually are.
Yeah.
And you do have to like look for things they've said in the past and be like, oh, okay, so you're just fucking lying.
Yeah, I mean, there is hope, though, because in cartoons and movies, the people whose lives are altered by traumatic brain injuries, they can revert back to their old selves with another brain injury.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it, John Fetterman was involved in a car accident over the weekend.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, that sucks. It's a hell of a thing to deal with.
I've been in severe car accidents.
Yeah, not fun.
Yeah.
And while we wish him a speedy recovery, wouldn't it be fascinating if he reversed all of his recent policy positions once again, thanks to another near-death experience? It's doubtful. But many have already joked that it would make for a good sitcom or movie plot.
Yeah.
Where the two political aisles are constantly finding ways to surreptitiously knock him on the head.
Yeah.
Also, just so we're not the only ones commenting on this guy's brain, conservatives were very quick to take advantage of his flip stances as proof that they just need to bash more people on the head in order to get them to support their positions.
Yeah, just look at like the Fox article about this and go down to the comment section. And there's also like a bunch of tweets from verified people who were like, yeah, we should start doing more of this.
Okay. Yeah, we're sorry, but the fact that a guy had a brain injury that caused him to become more conservative is just fucking wild. And comes really close to the other recent admission by RFK Jr., where he talked about having brain worms.
Yeah.
Having brain worms or brain injuries and being a conservative, they were supposed to be jokes. And here you have two guys who are self-described liberals admitting that it happened to them. So I don't know what to think anymore.
Yeah.
We live in a cartoon.
But speaking of people with noggin problems, this one had a noggin that leaked.
Leaky noggin.
Let's check in on old Rudy Giuliani, who had the distinct pleasure of getting his mugshot taken in Arizona on Monday of this week.
Ooh.
He does not look like he's thrilled to be there. Actually, he looks like he doesn't know where the fuck he is.
Yeah.
And if you're confused as to why Rudy Giuliani is getting his mugshot taken, or for which crime it's in regards to, this is the criminal case where he's facing 9 felonies for his participation in a fake elector scheme aimed at overturning the 2020 presidential election. First of all, here's the mugshot. Please enjoy.
There it is.
And here's some more info from the Associated Press, which we will just put over the mugshot instead of our standard quote graphics, just so he's always
in it.
Yeah, there you go. Rudy Giuliani, a former New York City mayor and Donald Trump attorney, was processed Monday in the criminal case over the effort to overturn Trump's Arizona election loss to Joe Biden, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office said. The Sheriff's Office provided a mugshot, but no other details. Giuliani pleaded not guilty in May to 9 felony charges stemming from his alleged role in the faked electors' effort. He is among 18 people indicted in the Arizona case, including Trump attorneys John Eastman, Christina Bobb, and Jenna Ellis. former Trump presidential chief of staff Mark Meadows and Trump 2020 Election Day operations director Michael Roman pleaded not guilty Friday in Phoenix to 9 felony charges for their alleged roles in the scheme.
And this also reminded us to bring up a quote from someone we are typically ambivalent towards, but he's a guy who specializes in hot takes. And we sometimes those takes are funny or actually effective summaries of what's going on. We're talking about Colin Cowherd. And of course, you probably remember one of our favorite takes of his over the years from the funny category, which is when he called all esports players a bunch of booger eaters and did a play-by-play of a gamer leaving an esports tournament, saying, "There goes Spencer. He's leaving the event and walking across the street to his mom's house where he still lives at 29. He goes over to the refrigerator, opens it up. He's got a Hot Pocket. Yeah, big night for Spencer. Now he's going upstairs to his room, a room where a girl has never entered. He sits down and look at that Star Wars collection. And he goes to town on the Hot Pocket. That is your esports champion."
He was like, I will fucking leave this job.
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah.
He was at ESPN.
He's at Fox now, I believe, and he does his own podcast and stuff. But if they ever make me cover these booger eaters, that will be the last day I work here.
I appreciate that he stood by his convictions.
Yeah, he's got weird takes, but sometimes he fucking nails it. And recently, he had some words for Donald Trump and his supporters after all those felony convictions. And maybe, just maybe, some of the sports fans who listen to him will actually process what he had to say about Trump and the people he surrounds himself with. Here's just a small taste of what he said. And again, this is only important because of his audience. Like, these are people who otherwise...
He's not really like a political guy, and he very much seems to generally lean to the right. So, yeah, interesting take from him.
Yeah, here's what he said. Donald Trump is now a felon. His campaign chairman was a felon. So is his deputy campaign manager, his personal lawyer, his chief strategist, his national security advisor, his trade advisor, his foreign policy advisor, his campaign fixer, and his company CFO. They are all felons, judged by the company you keep. It's a cabal of convicts. Stop trying to sell me on everything is rigged, the country's falling into the sea, the economy's terrible. The America I live in is imperfect, but compared to the rest of the world, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I don't know exactly where he lives. I think he might live in LA.
Yeah, I think he does.
But he's just like, yeah, there's every time they say that like LA's turned into like an apocalyptic wasteland, I'm like, I go outside and I'm like, that's not the reality I see.
And he for sure has like, he's probably in an area where that doesn't exist really. But I literally got the same response from my dad the last time he was out here.
Wow, I was really expecting this to be
He thought it'd be a fucking war zone.
Yeah.
He even said, he's like, wow, they really make this place look terrible on the news.
Yeah, because they're only filming on Skid Row, Venice Beach, and like Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, we got our problems, but like, it's not a fucking war zone. It's not hell on earth.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It was just very fascinating.
It's the same way people were like, oh, like Seattle has burned to the ground. Ferguson has burned to the ground. Minneapolis, it's gone. And you like zoom out of the map and it's like all of these protests are taking place in a 2-block radius.
There are problems, but it's not the way that conservative media is portraying it.
They're manageable problems.
Yeah, and these are human beings we're talking about too. So like, have a little bit of empathy. It's like, it misrepresented on a grand scale. So again, this is the audience that he's talking to, and that's why it's important, because they're the ones who believe that that LA is a fucking hellhole.
Well, if this Colin guy, if he's right about sports, what else is he right about?
Esports. He's right about esports.
He is. Yeah. I agree, actually. I no disrespect to esports, but they're not fucking sports. I'm sorry, it's something else. It's
luckily for you, that entire industry has fallen off the face of the earth and only exists in Dubai and Saudi Arabia now.
It's the same way, like, I wouldn't consider chess a sport.
Uh-oh, Elliot, you're gonna get some comments on that one.
It's not.
I don't agree with Elliot. I think chess is the best sport.
These are intellectual pursuits. They're not athletic.
Sure.
Unless we're talking like Dance Dance Revolution. Put that in the Olympics.
Does a sport have to be athletic, though?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a debate for a different... Why don't you tell us in the comments
By
below.
definition.
Well, okay, fine. Well, good.
Good. Okay, good.
That's why I refuse to play any competitive games anymore. It's too much stress.
Yeah.
Too much going on.
Too much on the brain.
Yeah. I don't want to get John Fetterman's disease.
No, you don't.
No, where I turn into a conservative asshole. Anyways, that's it for today. We do have a bunch more for you on the next episode, including probably at least a little bit of coverage of Apple's big event because they are also forcing artificial intelligence on everyone.
Oh, good.
And the future continues to look bleak. And it is very disappointing. It's very disappointing. It's gonna be very annoying. Although the one good thing is they added that messaging, like the RCS messaging, where now if I send you a message, it isn't horribly compressed to where you can't see it.
Okay.
That's going to be coming in the next one. But on the other hand, you can also just type in Elliot riding a unicorn wearing a balloon hat, and it'll pop that up and send it to you. Which, as people have pointed out on Twitter, and I agree with, anyone who sends me that's getting blocked.
Yeah.
If you send a fucking AI created emoji, done.
You're done. Get out.
You have been kicked out of the group chat. One more AI emoji and you are banned from the group chat. So yes, it's a little disappointing, especially from Apple, who has been consistently okay. But anyways, we have plenty more for you to watch in the downtime between these two episodes.
Yeah, we got Weekly Weird News, which
accidentally went up a little late.
I uploaded it, had everything, and just left for the day without just forgetting to press a single click to make it go live, and didn't realize for 24 hours because, baby, the weekend is for me. When the work is done.
We did have a good time at that festival. We went to No Values Festival this weekend. Met a couple of you. Thank you for coming up and saying hi. That was great. And saw just
too many good bands.
It was a great festival outside of it being a little hot in the middle of the day, and also parking, getting in was a nightmare. But damn, fucking, I had never seen Fiddlar live before. That was awesome. Got to see Power Trip. Sublime with the singer's son singing.
Shockingly good.
That was incredible. Iggy Pop still got it.
Yeah.
Despite being 77?
He's old as shit. Yeah.
Crazy. Well, Elliot's got the shirt. There's Elliot.
Boom.
Anyways, in the meantime, make sure you're subscribed so we can hit those goals. But please, leave a like. Do your part. Leave a like. Hit the like button. Do it right now. If you're feeling frisky, click the join button. Click the thank button. We had a sponsor this week. We had to say no. We had to turn them down.
Yeah.
Looked into it a little bit and was like, I don't want to align myself with this.
Maybe we'll explain more someday, but
Not now.
Very unfortunate. We had money coming in and
nope.
Dug a little deeper and was like,
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Anyways, so subscribe, click the join button if you want, and now we have 2 videos for you to watch popping up there. We got Alex Jones crying like a baby, and we got a new news dump for you. Both of those, check both of those out, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.